Hello, ladies. So, welcome this afternoon. I thought I would chat to you a little bit about the three main blockages that I perceive in ladies when I'm doing Tantra massage and when I'm working with them in the yoga and the energy yoga. And so before I start this particular topic, and hopefully you guys will relate to this and you'll see patterns in yourself that will make you resonate with this as well. So one of the key things that I wanted to introduce first is the fact that basically in Tantra, when we're working with Tantra, we're looking at the whole body being an energetic system, the holistic energetic system. The physical body is one of the most dense layers, and then you have a mental and emotional body and other elements as well, which I will share in teachings. But it's important to know this, and that there are 72,000 energy channels that travel through the body and cross-circuit the body. And then we have about 140, 100 to 180, depending, marma points around the body as well. So if you like and you know anything about Chinese medicine, then you know that they have the meridians and the acupuncture points. So both these ancient healing systems recognize, and Ayurveda also recognizes these energy channels and this energy structure. And obviously Ayurveda is actually still being used, and Chinese medicine is still being used today as a very powerful alternative healing, so not to be sniffed at. So if you understand that you have this energetic structure and that your thoughts and your emotions are also packages of energy, then you understand that when we go through the experiences of life, we have in our system trapped energies that come from our thinking. So if we are thinking positive thoughts and we're positive emotionally, our energy is vibrating at a higher resonance, a higher frequency, and happy, and this has been proven, they've measured it, that higher and happier emotions are much lighter, and that negative emotions are much, much denser. And that fits into the energy system of the human being and the 7 chakras that are based in our bodies, that are basic levels of consciousness that we tune into, that allow us to tune into this in ourselves and within the universe around us. So that makes up our energetic structure. And when I'm working with women in massages, there are 3 key areas that you really find the blockages in. And for me, I also give my own personal experience with this as well. So the main area for most women is actually the voice, and this is one of the weakest areas. And in medicine, you'll find that this is also where a lot of women have issues with the thyroid gland, because energy stagnates and gets stuck and shut down in this area. Now, this consciousness here is actually to do with expression and our ability to express ourselves, and also space and time. But for the meaning of working with ladies, this is normally our issue of expressing our truth. Okay. And if we go back in history, I have my own personal theory on this, that if we go back in time in history, women were not able to be independent free thinkers or independent full stop. We had to rely on men for our safety, our well-being, either being married off for breeding or being used by men, however you want to put that. And therefore we weren't really allowed to have a voice. And even though in modern day times we have got a voice, there is a universal consciousness of all of the conditioning from centuries and centuries beforehand that's still carried in us. And this can even present itself a little bit in the form of the imposter syndrome in women as well, where we believe that we're not quite good enough. Why are we here? Why do people will listen to us? Am I just faking this? And therefore we feel inhibited to truly express ourselves and what we want to say to people. So this is an area that we need to energize and we need to open up so that we can actually give our true voice to ourselves and express how we genuinely feel. What I also notice with women a lot in general, and I am generalizing, so of course there are lovely ladies that have no problem expressing themselves, but I also notice women a lot is that we tend to try and keep the peace and that we tend to be very diplomatic a lot of the time, and that again is not really speaking our truth, and it keeps us chained, and it actually keeps the other people that are involved chained as well, because we're not actually opening that up and expressing it. And it even comes out in lovemaking as well. I was a very quiet person in my lovemaking. I didn't really express that. There's some ladies that are very vocal. I wasn't, and I didn't realize that I had constricted that expression. And it wasn't until I was with my present partner, who also practices Tantra, that suddenly I started to find I had this amazing vocality that came from deep inside me. And he almost laughs. It's like an opera singer, when you express yourself, when you actually have that orgasmic state and you're expressing yourself. And it's not me, it's like coming from deep inside me and coming up. And so I think there's a lot more that we have that we need to express energetically and emotionally. And this is one of the areas that we as women tend to lock down. The second key area is the area of the heart. Now, I'm not saying that we're not generous, that we're not kind, that we're not loving, that we're not nurturing. We are all those things. But what I became aware of is that through my journey in life, I've been very open and very giving, and people had quite often taken advantage of that. And although I still carried on being giving and kind and warm, what I didn't realize is that I'd actually pulled myself back. And I was almost doing that at a distance. I'd created almost like an invisible cage over my heart. And I was doing that from a distance. And the other thing that I hadn't realized was my shoulders were actually coming forward, almost creating a protective layer around my chest. And I was beginning to develop a little bit of the dowager hump as well. So obviously that also comes from working a lot on a computer and posture, but it's also part of creating like a cage around the heart area, around the back of the shoulders. And as women, we also tend to carry a lot. We tend to look after everybody. We are the ones that understand relation and emotion on the whole better than men. And we are now out working as well as keeping family. And keeping the home, and so there's a lot more stress. There's a lot more stress that's out there, and when we're in the world, we tend to be more mimicking how men are in business rather than being us as women in business, which means again that we're kind of carrying this burden and being more in a masculine energy, which is not where we naturally should be. So when I'm massaging other women, what I also really notice is that I can often see like a mound over the back, around the back of the heart area, where the muscles are very tense and are locked in. And as I start to clear that area energetically, normally huge amounts of sadness come out of the lady that I'm working on, and quite often with tears, and they're like, oh my goodness me, and they may actually remember memories and times where this sadness has actually come into play as it flows out through them as well. So we kind of created a lock around the heart. And again, another theory for me on this one is that basically we are not taught how to be in loving relationships in modern day times. I don't think we've ever been taught how to be in loving relationships in the West, but certainly in other countries and other cultures, you were taught how to be in relation with someone, and you were taught the physicality of intimacy, but you were also taught the etiquette of intimacy, what that actually means, and what that role should be in the feminine, what that role should be in the masculine. Now, over time, that got distorted into a woman being subservient and a man being dominant, but it was never intended to be originally. It was meant to be an equal coming together, where we presented the polarities that create attraction and balance and harmony, the yin and the yang, that comes together in perfect harmony to complete and make a greater whole. We're never taking away from the other, but we're actually contributing to the growth and evolution of each other. And if a woman is truly in her feminine and a man is truly in his masculine, you create this amazing polarity of energy and attraction that not only creates an amazing sexual relationship, but creates an amazing relationship in whatever you want to achieve and build, I happen to be working in my business with my partner, so actually we can use that creative energy and that polarization and attraction within our business, in the roles that we play within the business, the energy we provide each other in the business. And it's actually very interesting as well, because this is the first time I'm being in the business with a man who is actually in his masculine, genuinely in the terms of Tantra and energy, and I'm finding myself having to struggle to let go of the reins of being in charge and being in control, and actually stepping into the feminine and moving more with flow and being in the moment and being creative of that element. So there is, in that lies, in the core of the heart blockage, I think lies the issue of trust and surrender for a woman, and the desire to be able to trust so implicitly that she can surrender utterly and completely because she knows that she's safe. Okay, so this is the key issue that I think comes up for the heart chakra. Then we go down to the lower regions, to the sort of where the sexual organs are and the belly. And here, this is the seat of, so the heart is the seat of unconditional love. And this is the seat of emotions and creativity and sexual energy. So in this area, the blockage is normally here. So we talk about the yoni itself, the area of the vagina itself. For lots of women, they can have numbness there and don't even realize that they're numb, pain there, burning sensations, lack of lubrication. All signs of stress and trauma that's being held energetically and emotionally in the area of the yoni. And so traditionally, all of our emotional stress, because this is the area, the level of consciousness in our body, energetically and physically, we gather all of this there and we store all stresses. It doesn't matter if it's a stress from a child where you had your toy taken away from you and you thought that that was a major trauma, or you've been through something very significant that is an actual abuse, or an actual genuine painful experience that's much more serious. It all gets stored here. And again, in modern day times, because of the stress of the environments that we're working in, because of the speed, because of the lack of time for ourselves and the lack of times to connect and be with our loved ones, we also are carrying all that stress in that area as well. So what does that mean? That normally means that we start to build up a layer of fat around that area, and we get heavy and chunky there, and that's actually also where we have the cravings for sweet things or comfort eating and comfort food, because we're actually building up our padded armor around that area. 1 second, I'll just take a glass of water. So again, if we can get rid of this stagnant energy and heal this area and get the energy flowing smoothly again, then we release all the tension that causes the pain. We release the tension that creates the burning sensations. The system starts to self-lubricate again, and actually that whole area becomes beautifully receptive, both for lovemaking, which is really important because an orgasm for a woman is a very powerful healing process, because it shoots energy through the entire body and re-energizes the whole body and de-stresses the whole body, and for further other reasons that I can explain another time. But also it then releases all the fat that you're carrying, and that then allows you to, that diminishes. And also another thing that I've noticed with this area is that women tend to have the pelvis coming forward, locking in, creating a protective zone, especially if they've experienced some sexual discomfort in relationships or in some form of abuse. So actually the pelvis comes forward and locks, and that whole area needs to be opened up again and relaxed. So how do we do this? Well, we do this in modern day times with the energy in Tantra massage, working within the energy fields. We do the physicality to open up the energy channels and activate the energy channels, and then we start to work with the different energies and the different layers that then allow us to move that energy out, push the energy upwards to the higher chakras, and as we do that, we can start to release all of the negative emotions, and we can transform them into more loving, more higher level energies of joy, compassion, kindness, love, appreciation, gratitude. And this may sound a little bit far-fetched, but believe you me, I've now been working for 4 years giving these massages, and every time they are massively transformational. People have huge big releases. It's very normal for people to be crying, to be laughing, to feel really light. Sometimes they have huge lifts of feeling angry because you're actually shifting locked anger in the body and frustration, and it's coming out, and it's fine. All of this just passes away. So anyway, that's my sharing on the blockages that I see, and what comes out of that as a summary for me is that we really need to learn how to love ourselves, how to look after ourselves, and then through that we can love and look after others. We need to look after this vessel that we're in to be able to live life to our full potential, to be the creative power that we are, and to see what we can actually do and achieve and have the confidence to do that. So if you want to know more, then please ask questions underneath here. Come and join me on some of my live talks, and you're very welcome to find out more at thealchemyofliving.co.uk. We have an online course launching next week. It's actually launched, but we'll be going live with the course next week, which introduces the foundational principles of Tantra Hatha Yoga. So how energy works, how the systems work, and why the yoga works, and what it actually does for your body. It's not just some stretching exercises or some very boring meditation. It's very, very powerful. So if you're interested, please come and join me, and I look forward to sharing more with you there and then. All right, take care for this Thursday snippet. Watch out in 2 weeks, and we'll be back again. And please feel free to ask if there's anything you want me to cover. All right, take care then. Bye-bye.